Hi, I'm Isabel from the APS Developer Community team. Today I'm joined by Michael Beale, Systems Integration Consultant, to help demystify MCPs. Let's take a look. Michael, let's cut to the chase. What exactly is an MCP server?
I'm glad you asked, Isabella. So imagine your favorite AI assistant. Say you use like ChatGPT, and it's like a brilliant intern. They're fast, they're helpful, they're shockingly good at writing poems, but they're kind of bad at counting, say, how many R's are in the word strawberry. And that's where an MCP server comes in. An MCP server is a custom plugin server that lives on your local machine, or sometimes a remote MCP server, which lives in the cloud, and exposes a set of your own tools through a simple HTTP or SDIO API interface. Now, the magic is where Claude, or say ChatGPT, another AI agent, it can discover this bag of tools and it delegates these tasks it knows, and it knows that it's not very good at, so things like counting R's, and it sends them to your code. So in other words, I have this special bit of code that knows how to count characters, and Claude or ChatGPT gives this question to my code. So basically, you stay in control and AI gets a boost, so everyone wins.
So, what would you say that makes the MCP server different from a regular server setup?
So most servers typically just sit there. They kind of wait for you to, like talk to them. But with an MCP server, it kind of flips things around. They're not just reactive, they're kind of part of an agentic AI workflow. So what's under the hood is usually a lightweight Node.js server or maybe a Python server, and it exposes a set of HTTP endpoints. Those really essentially expose a set of tools via what's called a tool manifest. And the AI agents, they see this set of tools like Claude, and they know what to do with those tools. So that description in the manifest might describe something like, this tool knows how to count letters in a word. And that's how your AI agent discovers how to use the tool. So it works with things like Claude Desktop or with, say, Cursor, and that LLM decides when to call your tool. Now, it's nice and tiny, so that makes it modular. It's really fast to prototype, and I'll show you a quick example. And it runs locally in this example, so there's really no need to deploy it to the cloud just yet. So think of it as a sort of a command center for your AI agent, and it chooses when to call one of your tools. Let's start with the classic count how many R's are in a string. So this is inspired by a YouTube video that shows you the complete setup. So I'm not going to run through it here, but really simply, I download Claude Desktop as my agent, and I'm going to code a really quick Node.js server. And it's going to run the count R's function. I'm also going to define a manifest, and this is where we describe the tools that I'm going to supply. And I'm only going to supply one tool in this case. This is the count R's. So what's going to happen though is when I go back over to my AI agent, so in this case, I'm going to use Cursor. I'll install my agent. This is me installing it. Click on this, and now it's installed. I can now ask my AI agent, I can ask it a question. I'm going to ask it, how many times does the letter R appear in, say, the word strawberry? Now, Claude knows, wait, I'm not very good at counting R's, so I'm going to automatically call that MCP server tool that you just gave me, and I'm going to give the word strawberry to it, and then it's going to go and run this Python code. You can see this little bit of code here. It runs that, it calculates it arithmetically, and it gives it back to Claude, and it gets this result back of 3. That 3 result comes back as a JSON object to our AI agent, to Cursor, and then it turns it into a nice sentence for me to understand. So it says, look, there are 3 letters, 3 R's in the word strawberry. Yeah, so it's basically like giving Claude a calculator, and it uses that for any tasks that it's struggling with.
And what kind of user or use case is this ideal for?
Yeah, so if you love building mini tools and you want AI to start handling them in the front end user interface, that's one example. So I wrote a little tool here to count the letter R's. That's an example of a mini tool. Or maybe you've got some very specific arithmetic or deterministic code that's inside your calculator, your APIs, and you want AI to use it correctly. You don't want it to try to guess it. And so you can create a tool with an MCP server that attaches to that special bit of code. And you'll notice that when your AI starts guessing what your result is. So you might be getting frustrated with AI hallucinations, answering things wrong. So this is where you can drop in an MCP server where it uses your new tool, and it will do an exact deterministic job, a good job of giving that answer instead of trying to guess it and hallucinate a bad one. So if that's the case, then MCPs are for you. Yep, when you're prototyping agent workflows, or maybe you're tinkering to boost AI reliability, this is a great place for you to add that new interface and attach it to AI and, just create some new workflows.
And for the people watching today that they are thinking of building their own MCP server, what should they know upfront?
Oh yeah, that's a great question. Keep it simple. Your MCP server, it's really a local web server, at least at first, and you're just going to expose some endpoints like the counting R example. Make sure to describe your tool clearly, and that's in a JSON schema format. Describing that tool helps the AI agent pick between maybe hundreds of other tools that it's going to choose from. So if you've got a utility belt and you've got 15 different screwdrivers and you have to pick the right size, make sure you describe it so your AI agent can better choose that tool. And again, start small. Don't flood your AI agent with thousands of tools in a utility belt. Choose just a small handful, maybe 5 or 6 to get started, and then slowly build up over time. So you can start connecting with really neat things like maybe you're building a math solver, or maybe the next Airbnb search engine system, or connecting to some other, heavy database system, whatever you want. But just remember to keep it simple and keep it small. And then the last part is be ready to debug it. Sometimes AI will call your endpoints and it's not going to get it right. And so you'll need to nudge it with a little bit of prompting and maybe a little bit of better wording or, some temperature settings in the AI model. And last but not least, have fun. You're not replacing the AI. You're simply augmenting it. You're giving it more superpowers to do cool stuff.